Most people walk through a casino and see rows of identical slot machines, flashing lights, spinning reels, all looking the same. But after programming these machines for over 10 years, I see something completely different. I see machines that are practically advertising whether they're about to pay or not. And today, I'm going to teach you how to read those signals. This isn't about hot or cold machines. This isn't superstition. This is about observable data that's right in front of you, data that most players completely ignore. By the end of this video, you'll be able to walk up to any slot machine and within 60 seconds, read the signs that tell you whether that machine is presenting opportunities or whether you should keep walking. I'm going to show you 7 specific things to read. Some are obvious once you know what to look for. Others are subtle insider details that come from understanding how these machines are actually programmed. Let's start with the most important one, the thing I read before I even sit down. The first thing I read is the pay table, and most players never even look at it. Before you insert a single dollar, hit that help or pay table button. You need to see the math behind the game. Here's exactly what I'm looking for. First, I look at the top award. What's the maximum payout on this machine? Is it 10,000 credits? 50,000? A million? That number tells me the volatility immediately. If the top award is massive, like 100,000 credits or more, that's a high volatility machine. It means wins are rare but potentially huge. If I'm playing with a $300 bankroll, I don't want that. I want something more balanced. Next, I scan the mid-tier pays. These are the awards between the top prize and the small pays. On a well-designed pay table, you should see a gradual progression. Maybe the top is 10,000 credits, then you see awards at 2,000, 1,000, 500, 200. That's balanced. But if the top is 10,000 and the next highest pay is only 100, with nothing in between, that's what I call a pay table gap. The machine is programmed to either hit big or give you nothing. That's dangerous for your bankroll. Third, I look at the lowest tier pays. How much does a simple 3-symbol combination pay? If the minimum pays are extremely small relative to your bet size, the machine is going to feel tight. For example, if I'm betting $2 per spin and a 3-symbol combination only pays 40 cents, that's a 75% loss even when I win. That's a losses disguised as wins machine, and I avoid those. Here's a real example. I was at a casino last month and compared 2 Buffalo machines sitting next to each other. Same game, same theme, but different pay tables. Machine A had a top award of 12,000 credits with good mid-tier pays at 800, 400, and 200 credits. Machine B had a top award of 50,000 credits, but the next highest was only 100 credits. I chose Machine A. It was more balanced. I played for 90 minutes and left up $200. The person on Machine B went through $500 without hitting anything significant. The pay table told the story before we even played. Reading the pay table takes 30 seconds. It's the foundation. Once you understand the pay table structure, you can predict how the machine will behave. The second signal I read is the recent jackpot display. Many modern machines have a screen or sticker showing the last major win on that specific machine. It might say, last jackpot, $3,200 4 days ago. Most players ignore this. I don't. This tells me multiple things. First, it tells me the machine is capable of paying. A machine that shows a recent significant jackpot is proven. It's not a dud. Some machines go months without hitting anything major, and while that could be random variance, I'd rather play a machine with a proven track record. Second, the timing matters, but not in the way most people think. Players believe if a machine just hit yesterday, it won't hit again soon. That's the gambler's fallacy. Random number generators don't work that way. Each spin is independent. But here's what the timing does tell me. It tells me how casino management might have responded. If a machine paid out $15,000 yesterday, the casino might have adjusted operational parameters. Not the RTP, that's locked and regulated. But they might have changed the minimum bet, removed certain denominations, or moved it to a different location on the floor. What I'm really looking for is the sweet spot. I want to see a recent jackpot, but not within the last 24 hours. Ideally, I want to see something like last jackpot, $2,500, 8 days ago. That tells me the machine has paid recently enough to prove it's functional, but not so recently that management has intervened. 8 to 14 days is my preferred window. Third, I compare the jackpot amount to the average for that machine type. If a Buffalo Grand pays out jackpots typically in the $5,000 to $10,000 range and the display shows a jackpot of only $800, that tells me the machine might be set tighter than others. The recent jackpots are smaller than expected. That's a red flag. Here's what I don't do. I don't avoid machines that show a jackpot from yesterday thinking they're cold. And I don't chase machines that haven't hit in 3 months thinking they're due. That's all superstition. What I'm reading is operational patterns and proven functionality. The recent jackpot display gives me data, not predictions. The third signal is something 90% of players never consider: the physical condition of the machine itself. Before I sit down, I do a quick visual inspection. This tells me more than you'd think. First, I look at the screen. Is it clean? Is it clear and bright? Or is it smudged, dim, and covered in fingerprints? A well-maintained machine indicates a casino that cares about player experience. And casinos that care about player experience tend to set better RTPs because they're competing on quality, not just volume. A dirty, neglected screen tells me this casino is cutting costs everywhere, including probably the RTP settings. Second, I check the buttons. Are they responsive? Do they feel solid or cheap and sticky? I'll press the spin button once before inserting money. Does it register immediately, or is there a delay? Worn-out buttons indicate heavy use, which is good. It means players have chosen this machine repeatedly. But if the buttons are broken, sticky, or unresponsive, that's a maintenance issue. The casino isn't taking care of this machine. Why would they set it to pay well if they're not even maintaining it? Third, I look at the chair. Is it in good condition? Is it clean? Or is it torn, stained, and falling apart? This might seem irrelevant, but it's not. Casinos strategically maintain high-performing machines better because they want players comfortable there. If the chair is pristine, the machine is probably a moneymaker for the casino. But that also means players are sitting there long sessions, which could mean decent pays. If the chair is destroyed, either no one plays this machine, or it's so bad that players don't stay long. Fourth, I check the area around the machine. Is the carpet clean? Are there empty cups or trash nearby? A clean, well-maintained area suggests casino staff frequent this zone, which often correlates with better-performing machines. Casinos don't waste maintenance resources on low-traffic, low-revenue areas. Fifth, and this is subtle, I listen to the machine's attract mode. That's the demo that plays when no one is using it. Does it sound clear and loud, or is the audio distorted and quiet? Audio issues indicate hardware problems or neglect. I avoid machines with audio problems because if they're not maintaining the audio, they're probably not maintaining the software either. I once sat at a machine in Atlantic City that looked perfect. Clean screen, responsive buttons, good chair. I played for 40 minutes and hit a $1,200 bonus. Later, I compared it to a machine 3 rows back that had a smudged screen and sticky buttons. A friend played that one and lost $200 without any significant hits. Physical condition isn't everything, but it's a reliable secondary indicator. The fourth signal is understanding denomination tier positioning. Not all machines in a casino are created equal, and the denomination matters more than most players realize. Here's what I mean. Casinos organize their slot floors by denomination. You'll see penny machines in one area, quarter machines in another, dollar machines in a third section, and high-limit machines in a separate room. This isn't random. This is strategic placement, based on revenue optimization. And you can use this strategy to your advantage. Generally speaking, higher denomination machines have better RTPs. A dollar machine might be set at 92 to 94% RTP, while a penny machine might be set at 86 to 88%. Why? Because the casino makes money through volume on penny machines. Hundreds of players betting small amounts adds up. But dollar machines have fewer players, so the casino needs to keep those players engaged longer, which means better RTPs. Here's what I look for. I want the highest denomination I can afford with my bankroll. If I have $300 to play with, I'm not sitting at a $5 machine where I can only make 60 bets. That's not enough to survive variance. But I'm also not sitting at a penny machine betting 40 cents per spin. I want the sweet spot. For a $300 bankroll, I'm looking at dollar machines betting $1 to $2 per spin. That gives me 150 to 300 bets, which is enough to weather cold streaks. But here's the insider knowledge about positioning within each denomination tier. Not all dollar machines are equal. The dollar machines near the entrance to the dollar section are typically set tighter. Why? Because those are the first machines players see. The casino knows players will try them. The dollar machines deeper into the section, or near the high limit room, are often set slightly looser. The casino is rewarding players who explore. Similarly, machines positioned near table games or high-limit areas tend to be set better. The casino wants table game players to have positive experiences on slots when they take breaks. They don't want a blackjack player to lose $200 in 10 minutes on a slot and then leave the property. So, machines near table games are often more generous. Conversely, machines near the buffet, near the hotel check-in, or near the main entrance are almost always tight. These are convenience locations. Players waiting for a table, checking in, or just walking by will play them regardless of the math. The casino knows this, so they set them tighter. When I enter a casino, I don't sit at the first machine I see. I walk, I explore. I look for dollar machines in the back corners, near the high-limit room, or tucked away in quieter sections. Those are the machines where the casino is trying to reward exploration. The math is often better there. The fifth signal is for progressive machines specifically, and it's one of the most valuable pieces of insider knowledge I can share. If you're going to play progressives, you need to learn to read the meter behavior. Here's what I mean. There are two types of progressives: mystery progressives and standard progressives. Mystery progressives, also called must-hit-by progressives, have a range. For example, the meter might say, must hit by $500. That means once the meter reaches 500, it's guaranteed to trigger. The actual trigger point is randomly selected somewhere between the reset value and the must-hit-by value. Maybe it's set to trigger at $473 for this cycle. Here's the signal I look for: the meter increment rate. Progressives increase based on coin-in. Every time someone plays, a percentage of their bet goes into the progressive meter. Normally, this increment rate is consistent, but on some systems, as the meter approaches the trigger point, the increment rate slows down slightly. This is a quirk of certain programming systems designed to extend the time before the jackpot hits. How do you read this? You watch. Before you sit down at a progressive machine, observe the meter for 2 to 3 minutes. Watch how fast it increments. If you see it jumping by 1 cent every few seconds consistently, that's normal. But if you notice the increments slowing down, becoming less frequent, that could indicate it's approaching the trigger. This is most noticeable on smaller progressives, the mini and minor levels, because they cycle more frequently. I'm not saying this is a guaranteed signal. The trigger could still be $50 away. But if you're going to play a progressive anyway, why not choose one where the meter behavior suggests it might be closer to hitting? It's a marginal edge, but edges matter. Second signal on progressives: compare multiple machines in the same bank. Progressive machines are often linked in banks of 6 to 12 machines. All the machines share the same progressive meter. But here's what most players don't know: not all machines in the bank contribute equally. Some machines might have higher coin-in, meaning more money is flowing through them. Those machines are statistically more likely to be the ones that trigger the progressive. How do you identify high coin-in machines? Look for the ones that show signs of heavy play: worn buttons, slight screen smudges from constant touching, chairs that look used. These are the machines in the bank that get played the most. If you're going to play a progressive bank, choose the machine that shows the most wear. It's contributing more to the meter, which means if the progressive is about to hit, it's slightly more likely to hit on that machine. Third signal: abandoned progressives. Sometimes you'll see a progressive machine with a meter that's very close to the must-hit-by value, but no one is playing it. Why? Usually because the base game is so bad that even with the progressive close to hitting, players don't want to sit there. This is a trap. If a progressive is at $490 and must hit by 500, you might think that's a great opportunity. But if the base game has an 85% RTP and you have to feed $200 into it to trigger that $10 progressive, you're not getting value. I only chase progressives when the base game is at least decent and the meter is noticeably high, relative to its range. Otherwise, I avoid them entirely. The sixth signal is subtle, and most players will never notice it, but it's incredibly valuable. It's reading the attract mode symbol frequency. Let me explain what this means. When a slot machine is idle, not being played, it runs what's called attract mode. That's the demo screen with spinning reels, fake wins, and flashy graphics designed to attract players. Most people think attract mode is just marketing, but if you know what to look for, attract mode reveals information about the machine's current symbol weighting. Here's the insider knowledge. In many machines, the attract mode doesn't use a separate simulation. It uses the actual real strips and symbol tables from the real game. It's not pulling from a separate pool of graphics. It's showing you actual symbol combinations from the weighted real strips. Now, it's not showing you the exact probabilities, because attract mode cycles faster and isn't tied to real bets. But it gives you a preview of symbol distribution. What I do is stand near a machine and watch its attract mode for about 30 to 60 seconds. I'm not looking at the fake wins, I'm looking at which symbols appear most frequently as the real spin. Do I see a lot of high-value symbols, or am I mostly seeing blanks and low-value symbols? If the attract mode is constantly showing high-value symbols, buffalo symbols, wheel symbols, scatter symbols, that suggests the machine's reel strips currently favor those symbols. The virtual reels are weighted to show them. This is a positive indicator. Conversely, if the attract mode shows mostly junk symbols, blanks, and low-value cards, that tells me the machine is currently in a tight configuration. Now, I need to be clear. This isn't foolproof. Attract mode can be manipulated by manufacturers to show more winning combinations than the actual game delivers. But in my experience, machines from reputable manufacturers like IGT and Aristocrat tend to have attract modes that somewhat reflect actual gameplay. It's not exact, but it's a signal. Here's a real example. I was at a casino in Reno and watched two identical Cleopatra machines side by side. Both were idle. I watched their attract modes. Machine A's attract mode kept showing Cleopatra symbols, wilds, and scatter symbols. Multiple high-value symbols per spin in the demo. Machine B's attract mode was mostly blanks and low card symbols. I chose Machine A. Within 30 minutes, I hit a bonus for $400. Machine B, later in my session, I tried it out of curiosity. It was dead. No bonus, no significant wins in 20 minutes of play. This signal isn't something I base a decision on alone. But combined with other signals, it's another piece of data that helps me choose. The seventh and final signal is reading player behavior around the machine. This is crowd wisdom, and it's surprisingly reliable. Humans are pattern recognition machines. Even if individual players don't understand the math, collectively, players gravitate toward machines that are performing well and avoid machines that aren't. Here's what I observe. When I walk onto a casino floor, I look for clusters of players. Not just any players, but players who look engaged, who are staying at their machines for extended periods. If I see a bank of machines where all the seats are full and players have been there for a while, that tells me something. Those machines are paying enough to keep people seated. The crowd has identified good machines. Conversely, if I see a bank of machines that are completely empty, every seat open, that's a signal too. Maybe those machines are in a bad location. Maybe they are known to be tight. The crowd is avoiding them for a reason. I don't sit at empty banks unless I've done my other checks and everything else looks good. But here's the nuance. I don't sit directly next to someone who's winning big. Why? Because if they're winning, they're pulling wins from the variance pool. This is superstition to some degree, but I prefer to sit at a machine that's near the action but not directly in it. I want to be in a zone where the crowd indicates good performance, but I'm not competing for the same outcomes. I also watch for player frustration. If I see someone at a machine who looks angry, who's slamming buttons, who's clearly been there a long time without success, I note that machine. I'm not sitting there after they leave. That machine has been cold for them, and while variance could shift, I'd rather not take the risk. Third, I listen for jackpot sounds. When someone wins, machines make noise. Casinos make noise. Staff come over. If I'm walking through a section and I hear multiple jackpot sounds, that tells me this section of the floor is active. Wins are happening. I'll explore that area more carefully. Sections of the floor that are silent, where I don't hear any wins, I avoid. Fourth, I observe players' card usage. This is subtle, but players who use their cards tend to be regulars. They know the machines. They know which ones pay. If I see a section where most players have their cards inserted, that's a positive signal. Regulars have chosen this area. If I see a section where no one is using cards, those might be tourists playing randomly without knowledge. I don't follow tourist behavior. I follow regular behavior. Crowd wisdom isn't perfect. Sometimes everyone is wrong. But more often than not, The collective behavior of experienced players points toward machines that are performing better. I use this as a tiebreaker when choosing between similar machines. 7 signals. The pay table structure, recent jackpot display, physical machine condition, denomination tier positioning, progressive meter behavior, attract mode symbols, and player behavior patterns. Most players read none of these. They sit down at the closest machine and hope for luck. But you're not most players anymore. Reading machines isn't about guarantees. Slots are still random. Variance still exists. But reading machines is about filtering. It's about eliminating obviously bad choices and increasing your probability of sitting at a machine that's presenting opportunities. Over hundreds of sessions, reading these signals will save you thousands of dollars by preventing you from playing terrible machines. Here's your homework. Next time you go to a casino, don't sit down at the first machine you see. Spend 5 minutes walking, observing, reading the signals I taught you. Check the pay tables, look at recent jackpots, assess physical conditions, watch the crowds, read the machines, then make an informed choice. You'll be shocked at how much better your results become when you stop gambling blind and start reading the data that's right in front of you. If these 7 signals changed how you'll approach slot machines, leave a comment telling me which signal you'll use first. Hit the like button if you're going to read machines from now on. And subscribe because my next video reveals what happens when you hit the stop button on a slot machine and why you should never do it. There's a reason casinos put that button there, and it's not to help you. Stay sharp, read everything, and I'll see you in the next video.